Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation, and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. Let go of negative thinking and stop living for the weekend. With your host, Fran Excel.
So welcome to the show. As always, it's Fran Excel, Mindset Coach, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way and live a life that you love. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm very grateful you've chosen to put me in your earbuds today. Please do hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. And do leave me a review. I love reading them. And it really helps me get found by other people who need to hear what I share. I'd also love you to email me your mindset and productivity questions or topics you'd love me to cover. To hello@franexcel.com, because I know a lot of you think I'm inside your heads because you tell me all the time. But if I don't know what you need, I can't give it to you. So let me know. So why are boundaries so important? Do you put boundaries in place in your business and in your life? Are people clear about what's acceptable and what's not? This could be with employees or contractors that you work with. It could be with your kids. It could be with your spouse. It could be with your friends or other family members. And it could be setting boundaries with yourself. Today's episode is all about boundaries, inspired by a lovely email from one of my glorious listeners. So this is kind of what I've taken from it and what I think can be translated to the rest of you. So, regardless of which area of your life it is, boundaries are really important, and setting them as soon as possible will make it better all around for everybody. It will mean far less communication issues, far less overwhelm, less resentment, nobody feeling taken advantage of, everybody absolutely clear on what's expected. Yeah? So that's much better than winging it, right? When you wing it is when people make assumptions. They delete and they distort the situation. Yeah, you can be on completely different pages when it comes to what's being agreed, and that's when you have the potential awkward conversations or the sleepless nights, knowing that you're not happy with how things are. But what even are boundaries? Boundaries are essentially clear communication of ground rules. Yeah, what is acceptable and what's not for you. When you have your own business, and even more importantly, when you work from home, it's important that they are as crystal clear as possible. It's really, really easy for people to think that because you're at home, that means you're available. When we all know that's not really the case at all. And it means that it takes you 10 times longer to actually get your work done because you're constantly interrupted. So constant interruptions mess with our flow, right? So it's important to clearly communicate with loved ones and clients and other people. So the benefits of setting boundaries. Having solid boundaries in place decreases anxiety, decreases the likelihood of burnout, and it decreases stress. So this can only be a good thing, right? It creates structure. Everyone is clear on their job and their responsibilities without having to venture into yours or step over the line. And boundaries really do create mutual respect. Yeah, as long as you stick to them. That is, if you allow people to walk all over you, then they will. It's your responsibility to not let that happen. It's all within your power, which is the fun part. It means that this is all changeable if you're in a little bit of a sticky situation right now. So where can you set boundaries? An easy one to start with is to set boundaries with people, potential clients and collaborators who email you. Yeah. So I have an autoresponder on my emails that state when I will and won't respond. My working hours. It's very lovely and fluffy. It also gives them how long to allow for a reply, and then I give them an in the meantime call to action. So I direct them to my resources, I direct them to whatever it may be. But it makes it really clear for both of you. So it means that you don't have to rush and reply to every single email that comes through. You won't feel the need to constantly check all through the evening and into the weekends. I see you. It'll give you a bit of headspace. And the person on the other side will also know it may take you a little while to respond. So they aren't sitting there waiting, checking, refreshing. So it's a win-win again, right? Can you see a pattern emerging? So the next thing you can think about is setting boundaries with team members. It's best to set the boundaries early on in the relationship if you can. Written and agreed job descriptions are ideal, and encourage a conversation and questions to be made sure that you're both on the same page. You know, it can be a collaboration, these boundaries. If someone has already been running amok in your business before the boundaries have been clearly defined, then you could call a team meeting and set the ground rules from then on, so as to not single anybody out. Just, you know, along the lines of, this is how I want the business to run, this is what I expect, this is what I don't want to see, this is what I see in the realms of my job, this is what is in the realms of your job, whatever it may be for your business, because it's all going to be different. But the bottom line is they will either respect the boundaries or disagree with them. And if they disagree with them, they may not be the right team member for you in the long run anyway. Yeah, that's the thing here. It can seem really scary to set these. Say, oh, but what if they leave? What if they do leave? It means they're not the right person to work with you anyway, and it clears the way for someone better to come along. Yeah. So just take some time and open a Google Doc or whatever you use and start writing down what's important to you. What are your company values? What are your values? What is a priority and what isn't? You know, what is acceptable and what isn't? If one of your values is respect, and you see being late as showing a lack of respect, and somebody else just doesn't really care about that, if they don't know that's one of your boundaries, how can they rectify it? All you're going to do is get wound up by it. Yeah. So what are the responsibilities in each role? You can do this for clients, staff members, children, spouses, you, anyone. Think about your working hours and your uncontactable hours and stick to them. If you cross your own boundaries, it's far more difficult for other people to respect them. If you do need to make an exception, because, you know, life happens, make sure it's clear that's exactly what it is, an exception, not the rule. Have a think about setting them right up front with clients and have them sign and agree to your terms so everybody's clear. You know, what are your rules on no-shows and rescheduling? What are the consequences? Do you have a 3-strike rule? Is it minimum 24 hours notice for a cancellation or they lose the session? You know, what are your rules on late payments? Are you clear on how they can contact you and when? If you don't want clients calling and texting at all hours, then don't give out your personal number, and be really, really clear when you will respond. There are a ton of different ways for clients to get in touch these days. For example, my one-on-one packages includes unlimited 24-hour access to me on an app called Voxer, meaning, before you're going 24-hour access, meaning A, they don't have my personal number, but they can send me a message whenever they like. Yes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is the point of my packages, is to essentially have me in your pocket, to know you have somewhere to get what's inside your head, outside of your head in the moment, because that's where it's important and that's where you can make change from. But, and here's the bit you were all waiting for, I'm super clear before they sign up that I only check and respond to messages between the hours of 9 until 7, Monday to Friday. And if I'm off out on the holidays or going for some dinners, I let them know in advance. Yeah, I set boundaries. So be clear on work that is outside the realm of your agreement too. If you set it all out to begin with, you can see how much easier it is for people to take advantage if you don't set it out. At the end of the day, it's your time and your energy to manage, but you have to manage it. Yeah. So if you have signed up to a project with a client and they're going way above and beyond, you are more than welcome to send them an email and say, you know, just to be clear, this is a little outside of our original agreement. I'm happy to do it, but it'll be X amount. And then they can decide, you know, however you want to play it. The next thing to think about is home working. Ooh, this one can be tricky. So this one can take a little while to implement, but it's imminently possible. So how could you set boundaries with your kids, with your spouse, with your mum? It will be different for everyone. I can't tell you how to set these. It's got to be what's right for you and what works for you and your business and your household. So could you have a closed door policy with the family? The door is closed, or even a fun little sign on the door. You know, you're working, and the less interruptions you get, the quicker you can finish, right? So that's got to be a winner. Can you have the hard conversation with your spouse about how important it is that they respect what you're working on and when you're working, and how important your business is to you, etc., etc. This really will be different for everyone. So really ask yourself that question. What else could you do to set boundaries at home? This one is where you tend to see a lot of resistance. People go, oh, but I can't say that, I can't say this. What if you did? You know, because is it really going to be a good thing in the long run for you to be sitting seething, never being able to get any work done, for you to never be able to, you know, actually focus for the time that you need to focus? Could having a conversation be that hard? I can't answer that for you. What else could you do to set boundaries at home? Yeah. And now finally, setting boundaries with yourself. This is a biggie. Be super disciplined with yourself, with the multitasking, the phone notifications. Recognize your patterns of procrastination. What hours do you absolutely not work? I used to work all hours, evenings, weekends. Now I very, very rarely work at the weekends unless I've had other things going on and I'm being flexible with my schedule, which is also important. But I never work, apart from the occasional Foxer for my one-on-one clients, on a Friday after lunchtime. And that is a non-negotiable for me. These times are actually all set out in my scheduling tools. So people literally can't book into my non-negotiable hours. So they're boundaries I've set without them even realizing. Do you see how easy some of these can be? What are your self-care policies? You know, ask yourself what boundaries you want to set with yourself. How do you want to live? What do you want to be a regular part of your routine? What is non-negotiable with yourself? This can all seem big and scary at first, but once you build your processes and make sure there's a level of clear communication, you will quickly see the shift for you, your family, your staff, and your clients. Like I say, win-win. But yeah, this is super, super important. It sounds boring, but it's so important. So let me know how you get on. So if you got value from this and you know in your gut that now is the time to step up and start rewiring your thinking and changing things for yourself, then book in a free discovery call so we can work out what needs to happen to get you from where you're at right now to the action-taking success you know you can be. And if you want my eyes and ears on your problems, I work with people one-on-one and through my Proactive Pants Mastermind. So stop waiting for if and when and decide to change things now, because you can. And as always, I hope that was helpful. So any questions, just let me know. And as always, I will see you next week. Bye.